Brilliant, thank you for that, Ross. Good afternoon, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you and be here in Nigeria. And I can only thank you for joining us today to listen to our presentation. I'm here today to talk through a development of ours called Darkins Yard, which is a purpose-built student accommodation located in Newcastle under Lyme. But before I get into the details of the individual development, I think it's really important to explain what purpose-built student accommodation is and how it can benefit each and every single one of you as a prospective investor into the schemes. So purpose-built student accommodation is exactly what it says. It's property designed for the student market, used exclusively by the student market and population. Here in the UK, we have one of the highest amount of students currently enrolling into higher education. A lot of that comes from international students, and we actually see a fair share coming in from Nigeria themselves, hence why I've got Biden with us and Sola there, lovely to see you, where they've been involved in projects in the student area before. Occupancy rate for purpose-built student accommodation sits at 95% across the board. So what you're looking at is one of the strongest asset classes when it comes to property in the entirety of the UK. So if you're looking for safety, if you're looking for security, and you're looking for consistency, then purpose-built student accommodation is what you need to look at. In terms of appreciation, over the last decade, purpose-built student accommodation has increased by about 25%. So you've still got a great element from a capital growth perspective as well. And when you're looking at the annual yields for these, you'll typically see them between 6.5% to 8.5% depending on the project, which will exceed your standard residential projects. So why have we targeted Newcastle under Lyme? I can imagine a lot of you sat here have never heard of this location. I can imagine. Newcastle under Lyme is a really leafy suburb servicing two major universities. Firstly, Keele University, which specialises in medical and law, and Staffordshire University, which specialises in engineering. Both of these locations are about 2 miles from Darkins Yard as a development, so from a transport perspective, it's absolutely incredible. There's over 27,500 students that are enrolled in these two universities with a huge undersupply of purpose-built student accommodation units. So there's a big push from the local authorities and councils to get developers like us involved into that area. In terms of the university itself, Keele University, over 70% of its students have to live off campus because they don't have the facilities to live there. This is where enter me and Ross, Abby and Mitch, who come in and provide the housing for those students and the opportunities for yourselves. In front of you, you'll see the actual map. Now, as I mentioned, Newcastle under Lyme is a very leafy suburb with Keele University sitting in 600 acres of Staffordshire countryside. Very leafy, very green. Not what you would typically see of a university town. If I highlight just here for you, transportation. So this is the actual bus route for the students. They run every single 15 minutes and they service both of the universities. What you've also got is number 4 on the map here, which is the Royal Stoke University Hospital. It's one of the largest hospitals within the area, spent over 300 million on it 5 years ago, condensing a number of different hospitals into one location. What it's also home to is a Keele University Medical School, which itself houses 650 NHS doctors that goes back into the system year after year. So it's really integral for our infrastructure of the UK and a really important medical school. So the development itself, the offer, what are we doing here? Darkins Yard has a variety of different properties, studios with their own en-suites and shared kitchens, apartments with kitchens in themselves, as well as 1-bedroom apartments and accessible apartments as well. Your entry point is around £86,000, but what we offer on this is an 8% net corporate let for 3 years. And what I mean by a corporate let is we, as a developer, sign as your tenant. So it's a guarantee from us that we pay your rent every single month. There's no third-party management company involved in that agreement. It's direct with the developer. Leasehold on these is 999 years, so we classify that as a virtual freehold, and that is a nil ground rent for life. So there is no point you will pay ground rent from any of the developments that you purchase through Integritas Property Group. Obviously, a highlight on the location, it is a 30-second walk into the town centre, straight across the road. And you're looking at 10 and 15-minute drives or bus journeys to the closest universities. The development itself is fitted out purely for students, so it's complete with cinema room, studio, study rooms, residence gym, bike storage, as well as concierge. We run a 24-hour concierge service. The development itself actually has 5 full-time members of staff on it to ensure that it's maintained and looked after, but also that the students, especially the international students, are safe while they're staying here in the UK. I'll give you a little bit of an overview. So what you'll see on the screen there is a apartment complete with kitchen. So we call it a self-contained apartment for short, because the student doesn't need to leave the room. The apartment itself is £92,950. So for the first 3 years, you're looking at a net return of £620 per month. I will highlight that again, that is net. There are no other costings to come out of that. Once you hit year 4, your net returns finish, and you then go into renting the property directly. With that, you actually see an increase in the rental asking price for these properties. So by the time you're looking at year 4, your actual net guarantee on it is going to be about 8.68%. So instead of seeing a dip in year 4, you're actually seeing the increase and maintaining that over the period of your investment. And who's going to manage it? Because it's not going to be me. I don't deal with tenants. I deal with you guys. So we employ a professional company called Homes for Students. They are one of the largest student operators in the UK, managing over 35,000 apartments from London up to Edinburgh. They will be on hand 24/7. It's their staff members that are based on that scheme to ensure that it's run. So they look after the building, the block, the maintenance, and the individual letting for the students. So we've got a really great network of partners to ensure that this is a smooth transition for you and also for us. And that for me is a highlight on Darkins Yard. In terms of the purchase process, Ross will cover this slightly later. Firstly, you speak to one of the designated investment consultants, of which they are dotted around the rooms, or by all means come and find me. I'm not that hard to miss, as you can imagine. And we will go through the availability in the apartments that you've got. Once we've done that and the reservation has been paid, we will introduce you to our progression department based back in the UK. They will handle all of your exchange of contracts, paperwork, and help you throughout the process. Now, because Darkins Yard is completing in December, what you would actually typically do is a simultaneous exchange and completion. So you'll be exchanging and completing at the same time. So you're receiving your returns from day 1 of the point of completion.